Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube. Well, welcome to another edition of Car Connection with your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins. We got some stuff going on. We're trying to get one specific vehicle ready for going out to fundraising events and car shows this year, and I'll tell you, it has been a long journey with this vehicle, and if you've been watching the progress along the way, you've missed a lot of repairs that I've already done to this specific car. It's a 78 C3 L48 anniversary Corvette. Yeah, I'll get it out. Most just say vet, but that's confusing. We're not talking military. But anyways, I've wanted to perform a military maneuver on this thing a few times. And that would mean something explosive to make sure there's not one piece of it left. Because every time I turn around on this specific vehicle, I purchased it. It had already gone under a restoration somewhat. And these were mechanics working on this car. So, and the things that I've come across, it's been one thing, then another, then another, then another. And then I finally just said, I got to touch every single piece of this car to make sure we're going to be safe on the road. And I'll tell you, I've done 2 Corvettes before from start to finish, and this thing takes the cake. It's just been one problem after another. I've been chasing mechanical errors and sloppy workmanship for 10 years. This has been a 10-year project, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it eats money like it's going out of style, and I work on it till I find yet another problem, and I go, that's it, I need a break. And I walk away from it. I have to. I've had to walk away from it for a few times. So here's where we're at today. We're getting closer. When we're finished, we're actually going to be able to close the hood. Because I wondered why the hood always was open this far. It's because the intake manifold they put on the engine and then the carburetor took away the opportunity for the hood to close. And I think that might have been when they went, oh crap, the hood won't close. Now what, fellers? Well, that's what we're fixing. So there are other problems, not only with the height, and we're going to have a look at that again. So make sure you watch part number 1, the preliminary to taking this intake manifold off. I came up with other problems that I've uncovered just by simply removing the lousy intake manifold they put on there, preventing the hood from closing. The car's all painted. It's all pretty. All I have to do is put the interior back in and rewire the dash and make sure everything is working when I'm done in there. And that's a breeze for me. It's making sure mechanically this thing is not going to leave us on the road or we're going to have a problem. So in taking the intake manifold off, I just want to show you the unique hardware that was holding the intake manifold on. And we're going to look at the old intake manifold in a minute. Okay, number 1. Let's look at this. This is the rear gasket that you'll see in a moment when we get to the intake manifold. I never put these in out of the kit, out of the gasket kit, and I'm going to show you why. This was already leaking oil. The gasket is split open. And I'm going to tell you why it's split. They torqued the bolts down holding the intake down way too tight and already split the gasket. The gasket is still almost the same condition it would have come out of the kit itself, but they created an oil leak already. So we just avoided a big gusher of oil coming out of the back of the intake manifold towards the firewall and puking all over the transmission, everything else, and catching fire on the exhaust. And we got to keep in mind the car is plastic, it is fiberglass, and it burns quickly. So that's junk. Now we get to the bolts that were holding their intake manifold that they decided to put on the vehicle. Check out these bolts. Some of them, you can't even tell there's any threads. And this one, I think, was with the Titanic down at the bottom of the ocean. How the heck did these bolts even grab any threads pulling the intake manifold down into the cylinder heads? I have no idea. And not all the bolts are the same length. And these, by the way, are way too short. So when the bolts went through the intake, there's only about this much thread, where my fingernail is, to the end, going into the cylinder heads to pull that manifold down equally and tight. This bolt is different than all of them. Wherever you put it, doesn't matter. Let's sneak it in here. And this bolt was about ready to break. If you look at it right here in the center, it's tapering in. It was about ready to snap off right here and leave this much in the cylinder head. Yeah. So I wanted to show that to you because that's not what bolts look like when I strip a motor down that I've put together. The bolts will come out looking like brand spanking new. Kind of like this. Nice clean threads, nice clean bolts. The other mistake they made was using flat washers to bolt down an intake manifold. Never! Why? Well, the bolts can back off, and the holes that these bolts drop into are a little bit bigger than the bolt itself. So every single washer I took off was all collapsed in like this. So they're tightening down, and I can tell you they tightened that intake manifold down with an air gun. They did not torque the bolts. They just went burp, 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 burp. Yeah, that's good. That's why this bolt is stretched and ready to break. That's a telltale sign. That was not done by hand. That was done with an air tool. So, bolts too short. Threads are absolutely bunged up with, I'm not sure what that is, carbon plus else. This bolt is so rusty, never should have been put in there at all. Surprised it didn't snap off. Bolts were too short. This one's a different size. And the list of problems, this is what I've been running into. So I just want to warn you, fellas and fellettes, guys, gals, guys and dolls, when you're buying a project off of somebody else. Now, thank goodness one thing. I got this car for a steal. But in time-wise, it has been a time-eating monster because I basically, as I've said, I've had to go over every single inch of the car, and I mean down to the most minutest problems, even the hood latch, even the hood bolts, no washers, no lock washers, odd bolts. Like that's the way the car's been put together. So, and emergency brakes. You might say, well, what was wrong with the emergency brakes, Motormouth? They weren't working? No, they weren't there. None of it. Cables, brackets, mechanisms, the shoes, the springs, nothing. They took it all out completely, 100%. So this is Canada. Yep, I'm Canadian, and from Stevensville. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Those are my friends. Stevensville people are people. So you can't get a safety inspection on a vehicle on Ontario highways without emergency brakes. Park brake, set brake, whatever you want to call it. It won't pass a safety. So we also decided we're going to eliminate the entire heating system inside the car completely. Oh, you say. Oh, just the switches? The fuse? No. We took out all of dash vents. We took out the entire heater box, heater core, blower fan, wire harness, vacuum lines, all of it. And then we fiberglassed the whole closed where the heater box goes. They did a nice job of that. I got to give them a thumbs up for that. So I just wanted to share some of those details. So I had to go and find a heater box. Thank you to Northern Corvettes. A little shout out there for Stuart. And he helped me out with that and let me take some parts off the Corvettes in the Corvette graveyard and get the pieces. I needed everything. The heater box. We didn't have that anymore. The inside heater box and the external heater box, which goes under the hood of the vehicle. We didn't have that anymore. So they just eliminated. You know, on the roadways in Ontario, you cannot safety a vehicle if it cannot make defrost mode in the heater system. So guess what? I've been having to put all that back in completely from scratch. That takes time. Putting all the ductwork in the dash, everything. So I just wanted to share with you those things. That's just the short story book of this car. Yeah. And then running into this. This would have been catastrophic when that intake lets go and fills the motor up with coolant while I'm driving at highway speeds. What happens? Kaboom. It's over. All right, let's take a look at this. This is the carburetor base gasket. That's what it is. Okay, so we have the carburetor over there on the chuck wagon, and it's okay. The carburetor's okay. I've got it fixed. So here's the manifold that they put on. Come on over here. Bring them over here, Skippy. Come over and see Skippy number 1. No, you're Skippy number 1. That's Skippy number 2. He's ready for the wash machine. Now this is the base gasket they put on this intake. Look at how high it is. And wait till you see the one that's in there. I put a factory aluminum intake I was saving in some of my vintage car parts that I've held back in my stash over the years. So let's put this gasket on this great big hole here. See how I can grab the edge? It's the wrong gasket for here. So that affects its drivability, air and fuel flow 100%. Why would you put a performer intake on that has these great big holes to increase airflow, give you more horsepower, and you choke the holes down and make them smaller? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be nasty, but I'm just saying, fellers, don't do this stuff. Please. If that's the only gasket you got, those are the only bolts you're going to put in. You know, it's not that big a deal to go to the hardware store, measure your length, get some really nice lock washers. You don't put flat washers on the intake. Look at how big the holes are. I can fit my pinky in there. So guess where your flat washer is going to go? It's going to start feeding itself into the holes, and that's what it's doing. So they're torquing the bolts down with an air gun, and the washers are caving into the holes. So you don't even have it torqued right. And here's another clue right here. We were about ready to head for a bad one. The coolant's leaking up through, this is a coolant port. It's leaking up through the bolt hole. That white, yellowy, crusty stuff, that's coolant starting to migrate up the bolts. And this is a coolant jacket. Same thing. And this is a coolant jacket. Same thing going on down here. The corrosion coming up is antifreeze. So this thing was about ready to say, see ya! It's actually a really good thing that I discovered You know, the car's all painted, as you can see. The hood is beautiful. The rest of the car's the same. And the hood doesn't close. It's like, yeah. So we're here to fix that, and we're taking care of more potential problems that would have, I'll tell you, it would have been, if we didn't catch this, I'm glad the hood wouldn't close, because this is a recipe for disaster. The motor is new, so we would end up taking a good motor down. It's that simple. So let's head over to the engine now, and I always do a preliminary before I bolt anything on, so I do a pre-fit, and it's very important to do that because you'll tend to find your problems. So I just need a wrench to take my bolts back out. Yeah, Skippy, if you can head south, and I'll go north, and we'll be in good shape. And I'll turn this light on. Just let me know if it's going to bother the camera. We don't want to bother the camera. And so I can't remember where I parked my donkey. Can you help me? I've lost my donkey. Okay, enough of that. All right. So this is the intake I had salvaged off like a 1970 Chevy van. And I cleaned it, got it all cleaned up and everything ready to go on. So I put all new bolts in with nice lock washers. That's what should be used. Reason being, the lock washer will not fold itself down into the bolt hole. And I'll just pull one out right now so you can see. So I fit this all by hand because I wanted to make sure I don't run into a problem and I end up ruining a gasket set because I didn't do a pre-fit. I've rethreaded all the holes and cleaned them out. So as you can see, you know, there's a little bit of slop around the bolt, and that's normal. But a flat washer will feed itself into the hole. So what you use is a hardened lock washer. And that's going to pull down, and the lock washer is just going to collapse and tighten and grip. So that's how you do it. And look at how clean the bolts are. We'll put some anti-seize on them before we put them all in, so that the threads, because the threads are all clean. I ran a tap down each hole, and that's how you do it, guys. That's how you do it. So that all these bolts, I can put them in by hand. The intake does fit rather tight, but you can see how much lower this is. So if I were a betting man, I would say that I can put the carburetor on there, and I'm going to get the hood closed even with the factory breather on. And that's what I want. Now I've only put this plug in here temporarily because I don't want that style of plug in there. I want a flat plug with a 3/8 square on it, so I want it to be flat, not extended. These bolts here are for installation purposes so that I can grab the intake and I can support it and drop it down, and so that I can also pluck it off there when we're done. So I wanted to share that with you because this is how you do it right. And you know, there's all kinds of stuff on this car. Even here, this is my handiwork. This is all the wiring for the heating system coming out here, and then I still have the other side of the heater box, which will go here with factory air conditioning. I'm putting the factory air conditioning in too as well. So that's what I've been dealing with. And it gets to you after a while because it's like, when are we going to be done? You know what I'm saying? When are we going to be done? And so I'm going to pull this back off, and then you're going to see the surface is all prepped, and I'm going to wipe it down one more time, and then I'm going to walk you through the gasket set, and then we're going to get this intake actually in here today and bolted on, ready to put the carburetor on. So I'll get busy here and take all these bolts out. If you want to hang with me for a bit, you can. If you want to take a break, well, you can take a potty break or a coffee break or whatever. But if you want to hang in there with me, I'm just going to now remove all the bolts, but they are going to get anti-seized as they go in. And I also will be treating the intake gasket both sides with copper seal. So I've made a couple of hangers because it is a little bit tricky to spray both sides of the intake gasket with the copper seal. I've been using that for probably 40 years. The copper seal is excellent. It just gives the gasket a little more oomph. So if there's, any kind of imperfections, it really helps the gasket to seal. So any kind of extra you can do like that, I'm all for it. But the gaskets that came out of here from pulling the other intake off are just, they were corroded. It looked like they didn't even clean the block to put that in, before they put the intake in. It was like they just kind of slapped it on. And you know what? That's not the kind of workmanship that I do. I won't do the job if I can't do it right. I just won't. That's just the way I am. Anybody who knows Motormouth knows when I do the job, we're doing it one time. We're going to give it everything we got because we don't want to use it as a practice. This whole car has been a practice, let me tell you. And yes, we do have a power steering leak. It has come back with a bit of a vengeance, but now I believe I know where it is. They had the steering pump off of this car, and I believe they took the pump apart, and it looks to me like there's a big round O-ring where the front case clamshells over the back case, and it looks like there's a seam there, and that big round gasket is supposed to seal the two pieces together, and it looks like it's coming off the bottom of the pump. So it's looking like we're going to have to revisit that again, and I'll end up having to take the alternator off and the alternator bracket to get to the pump, and take the lines off and head in there to see. I'm going to have to take the pump off to see what they did or didn't do. So another project coming, and that's what I'm talking about. It's just been one thing after another. And I'll tell you, that's why I've walked away from this project a few times and just said, you know what? I'm not making any fast headway. I'm going to go work on something that I can actually get finished. Yeah, because this one's just ongoing. It's ongoing. So hopefully, we're getting to the end of the problems. But to see all the problems that I've run into has just been, and especially them being mechanics that were working on this, I have to shake my head. Guys, don't do this sloppy work. Just don't. Do it right. Use the right parts. Take your time. Be thorough. Because it's going to come back, whether it's you or somebody else. If I knew I was having to do all this much work that I have done, I wouldn't have touched this car with a 10-foot pole, because I could have bought one in much better shape. Because in time-wise, I've spent a fortune in time on this car. A fortune. And that's why I say, be careful what you buy. Because if you don't have the tools, you don't have the know-how, you don't have the money for the budget to pull all the parts together, don't touch it. Just don't do it. Save your money, buy something that's done, and then upgrade it as you want. But then you're driving it, you're enjoying it, and all you have to do is take care of it. All right, so these are the handles I created, because this thing has to go on square. You can't be, oops. Did you see that, Skippy? You snuck that bolt back in there, didn't you? That's why you told me, look over there. Look over there. What? It's like that. That's what we got. That's what we got waiting for us. So we will have thwarted coolant leaks into the engine. We will have thwarted thermostat housing continuously leaking, because the thermostat housing on that intake, the other intake, is not flat. So it ain't never going to seal. It's got to get machined. And I'll probably offer that intake manifold up for sale on our website. I've got a bunch of car parts I'll post up there, so if some of you guys want some of that stuff, you're welcome to it. All right, so this is clean. Can you see that? Can you bring them in, Skippy? Bring them in. This is clean. So we'll just wipe that once more, and that's how I do it. I put my cloths in there, so when I was cleaning this, nothing's gone into the motor. Nothing's gone into the motor here. Keep your cloths, and then when you take these cloths out, you're ready to put your gaskets and everything on. You're going to collapse that in. You're going to pull these out first, all of them, and then make sure you shove your finger in there and you haven't missed one. All right? And then you're going to fold it in. So I'm going to show you how to do that so you prevent putting this stuff into your engine, because that's an engine killer. All this stuff here is an engine killer. That's what will happen. So now I'm at the point, let's just quickly look through the gaskets. I want to show you that as well, because it's another area where you need to pay attention, because once you cut this kit open, you cannot return it at all. Nobody's going to take it back. And they tell you right on here that once it's opened, non-returnable if opened. So you want to make sure, even though the parts guy looked it up for you and you gave him the specs, check the list. This is gasket, Felpro gaskets. I like Felpro. I like Victor Hines. And this is for GM 6.6 liter, 5.7, 5.4, 5.0, 4.9, 4.4, 4.3. So, and then look through the list to make sure that everything you're going to need to do this. So we need a front and a rear gasket, but I don't use those. I'll show you what I do. See them right here? We already looked at them. These are garbage. Some of them come with cork, same thing. That'll push them right out. We're going to use RTV. One of my favorite. No, they don't sponsor the show, but I'll put all these things in the description for you so that you have them. So I look down the list and I see I got distributor. That's this one here. We're going to put a new distributor gasket there. It didn't even have one. They just put some RTV on it. I don't know how they expected to adjust the timing when they glued the distributor in place. I don't know. Intake manifold front seal. Intake manifold rear seal. And gives you the intake manifold and intake manifold restrictor. I'm not sure if I'm going to use those yet or not, because this is a EGR valve, exhaust gas recirculator eliminator. So when I cut this, I'm committed. So just so you know, you cannot send it back. Even if you tape it nicely, they will not take it back. So you got to be very careful when you're buying stuff. Double check. We ran into that, didn't we, the other week, Skippy, on the U-joint, the Charlie shaft. Yeah. Wrong U-joint. Right area, wrong end. Don't know how that happened. So these two gaskets here, these are awesome gaskets. I'm going to coat them with copper seal, both sides. And again, you want to read your gasket, because right here it says this side up. And the reason for that is so you don't put this one over there, because that's the wrong side. So always look at your gaskets as well to make sure you're in the right position. Oh, that didn't sound good. And this is, again, this side up. So this one is going to go here. You follow me? So the only thing that I don't like about this is I will have to somehow, I will put a little bit of glue on it to hold it into place. for me because I'm not using these gaskets. I will not use those. That's just setting me up to do the job again because they leak. So what else we got in here? So we have our distributor gasket. We're going to use that. Any goodies in here? Like, something to eat, a little treat while you're working on it? Nothing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use these or not yet. I'll let you know. I'm thinking about it. So this is where we're going to take a break because I'm going to spray these gaskets. But I do want to show you the product. This is the spray I use. It's called Copperhead Gasket Adhesive Sealant. This stuff is amazing. And you might be saying, well, they're brand new gaskets. Yeah, this just gives the gasket a little more oomph. So just trust me. Get yourself a can of this. I'll put it in the description on the video as well. So I'm just going to take a clean rag and I'm just going to wipe this down now with some lacquer thinner. That's what I use. I don't use brake parts cleaner. I use lacquer thinner. Why? Because it'll eliminate all the grease and oil that might still be sitting there. So I'm just going to go get a little bit. We'll wipe that down and then we'll take a little break while I go out and spray the gaskets. Always have some lacquer thinner around in the shop. It's really, really usable. It's very good to have around. I call it, it's actually a tool for me. It's a tool, just like some of my friends. So I'm just going to set that up there. Do not kink your gaskets, otherwise it'll be a bad day. And then I use this type of razor blade to cut my tube to put on the RTV. So that's all I do. I just go down here and I'm just wiping it off. I'm not pulling out my paper yet because I'm not ready to drop the manifold on there. So I'm going to go down the back here and see if I can get some light on here for you, Skippy. So down the back, wipe the whole thing, wipe here, flip your rag inside out. Smells so good, I think I might put some in a bag. Just kidding. Some days, yeah, some days. This car, especially, if you weren't a drinker before, you might be by now. Let me tell you, this has been a horrendous project. And as you can see, the stuff I run into, and yeah, we chased down that power steering leak, Skippy and I, and we could not find it. It wouldn't drip for nothing. And this morning I look underneath and I see clear hydraulic fluid that I just put in the power steering pump and ran the car. We ran it and tested it and steered left and right and couldn't get a drip to come out. But where I see the oil tells me I kind of suspected the pump because I could see a little bit of oil on the back of the case. So we have to entertain that. All right, so that's wiped down now. It's ready. It's ready. I just need to settle those gaskets in there. So what I will do is I'll show you another little secret. How am I going to hold those gaskets in position and without them shifting? Because when that manifold goes on, it has to go on, and it has to go on square. You can't be doing this and this. You got to get that baby right in there and get your holes lined up at either end. So I'm going to try something this time that I haven't done before, and we'll see how that turns out. See how that just cleans stuff off? Lacquer thinner. So the other secret is if you just hang that up, I can use that 3-4 times with lacquer thinner without having to throw it in the garbage. Okay, so we will put this cloth over temporarily. Again, when your engine's open, don't just walk away and leave the cavity open. Not a good idea. Something could fall, something could move, and you're not around to see it. So just don't take the chance. Just cover it up, and that's how I was taught. So we're going to take a break and stick around for part 3 coming up. That signifies we got to take a break. So don't forget to like, share, follow, and leave a comment down in the comment section, because that helps us with the Google Analytics to get us way out there so more and more and more people see our videos. Also, when you subscribe, make sure you also click the notification bell so you're notified when we put some more videos up. And we put 3 videos, 3 every week, 2 for Tuesday and 1 every Friday. So 3 videos a week. This is a long one because this is a long procedure. So instead of giving it to you all in one bite, give you a chance to watch one section, watch chapter 2 or segment 2, come back for segment 3. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and our YouTube channel is Niall Motormouth Jenkins or Niall Jenkins. You'll find us there as well. So keep it under 100 and put the coffee on, because we're coming to your house.